Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to just take a few minutes and maybe put some things in perspective. We're facing a tough battle this week on the budget, and certainly the country right now is hurting in many ways, and people are scrambling to cover themselves and make sure that financially they can be as stable as possible. We go back to districts with high unemployments, 9% across the country. Several counties in my district are upward to 20%. And times are certainly tough, and I sympathize with everyone. According to committee calculations, the average employee cost for USPS is $89,845 per year, or close to $45 per hour in benefits. Is the total compensation averaging out more than $80,000 per postal employee per year, including wages and all benefits, including retire health benefits, Mr. Donahoe?
Yes, I'd have to double check those numbers, and I'd get back with you on that. But the way we calculate our costs, it is wages and full benefits, including retirement.
Okay. So if that's true, then the average work hour for a USPS employee that's publicly reported is about $40 per hour?
We consider a fully loaded hour right around there, yes.
Okay. Do you think that's generally a fair amount in terms of trying to keep the Postal Service running when you're doing these negotiations, talking to employees? Nobody wants to give up anything. It's hard to take things away from people once they have them. But is that as low as people are willing to go to keep their jobs?
I think that, again, to the point we've been making, when we went into this negotiation, our goal, three goals. We were looking for immediate financial relief, we were looking for flexibility, and we were looking for long-term structural change, and we achieved those. We've got a substantial change in the way that we will be compensating non-career employees, and that pulls that loaded factor down significant by 53%. The other thing, of course, is the 10% differential going forward. That also will pull those down. We realize the labor costs are high, and as we've worked with the APWU, they understand where we were coming from. The other thing that's important is we also have real opportunity with the flexibility that we've negotiated in there, so that if you have a full-time employee, they can now work between 30 and 48 hours a week, which is very different than we've had in the past. So, Doctor, we are looking at every possible way to provide great service in an efficient and effective way.
Can you speak just briefly to the graph that's behind us here, the private sector versus Postal Service?
I can see that. It would be interesting to see the numbers, but it almost looks like the blue line starts going up when we began to pre-fund employee health benefits. That's the first thing that I see. We have been it's critical to understand that the Postal Service has focused not only on total labor costs in terms of wages, but we have focused on headcount. We've reduced headcount in this organization by 30% since the year 2000. That's legacy costs.
Thank you. Mr. Guffey, when I go back home and talk to my folks, it has been mentioned that the Postal Service doesn't cost the taxpayer a dime. What's going to happen if you default on September 30th? Who does that burden shift to?
I believe Mr. Miller said it would be a miracle for these things to happen. And, I think Congress can work together and resolve the problems of our country and the Post Office. And I think that's what America wants you to do right now. I think they want their post offices in rural Tennessee. I think they want to have their mail delivered. I think they want this sort of thing.
As I said, you had mentioned earlier that you employ 100,000+ veterans, which I think is great. That's fantastic. What do we say to the active military personnel whose wages are far less than what we're talking about here in the $40 per hour?
Well, I'm not sure if you take the weighted average of about the military benefits that are involved with their retirement and their health benefits, which are all provided by the government too. If you put it all together, I'm not sure their package would not be the same. I'm just saying that, yes, we would like to have good jobs for these people to have when they do come home. Talking about the custodial jobs, they were maybe priced a little higher than they should be, but they were jobs that were reserved for the veterans, so the veterans could come home to these good jobs.
Well, when you're talking about concerns about your employees losing their pensions and their benefits, what do we say to the private sector who faces losing Social Security and Medicare? benefits?
Well, I think they only face the losing of Social Security and Medicare because of the economy, and that our jobs, like say hundreds of thousands of jobs are now overseas. Trillions and trillions of dollars of American money is overseas right now, as opposed to being working in this economy and lifting up this next generation to where they pay, and you broaden your tax base so you can afford Social Security and Medicare for these people. That's the real problem in this country right now, not the fact that public workers are making too much.
You don't think the government spends too much? You don't think there's ways?
There's a lot of things I think that the government spends money that they shouldn't be spending on. Like I said, this hearing is costing more right now in tax dollars than what the Postal Service is getting out of tax dollars this year.
And that's a big part of the problem, and that's what we're here to solve.
I think